Hello there, everyone. I'm excited for today. This is one of my most favorite things to teach kids to draw. So it'll be fun. Actually, we're going to split up today's assignment into 2 days. So it'll be a 2-day assignment. And the first day today, I just want to give you the basics. And then by next art, hopefully you're feeling confident and you'll be able to add in your own creativity. Before we get going on today, I'm going to talk just quickly about last week. So I mentioned a word portfolio when I wrote you back after you submitted your photos, and some of you said, "What's a portfolio?" A portfolio is simply a collection of an artist's work. So it would be your work. So multiple, some artists' portfolios only have maybe 3 pieces. Sometimes they have up to 20. Boy, if you've been at this and you make it your career, you might have 100 or thousands even in your portfolio. But most of the time, it's your best work, the things you're most proud of. So my thought of having that Google Slides be a portfolio is you just hit that plus button in the upper left-hand corner. Which way is left? It's so weird because I'm pointing opposite. This is like a mirror when I look at myself. Anyway, you're going to hit the plus button in Google Slides and you can add more slides. You could keep going. You could have 50 slides if you needed to. And then you can just continue to insert photos of your art as you take them. And then if you also want to take things out, maybe you think, gosh, in October, this was one of my favorite works of art, but I am so sophisticated by February, I want to delete that. You can do that. It's the same thing as an artist physically taking something out of their portfolio, which sometimes comes in like a book form. I have like a big case, and then my art slides in there as a portfolio. But in Google Slides, you just delete the picture, and then it's gone. So anyway, if you were curious about portfolio, that's what I meant. So I'd like to keep seeing you add more pictures in there. All right, on to business. Remember, this is a repeat after me. I'll say it and then you'll say it. You can say it in your head, but do say it. This is going to help us believe positive things about ourselves and, again, help us build that confidence. So I will say it, then you say it. I am an artist. I am a creator of ideas and a solver of problems. Sometimes the problems are on my paper. Sometimes they're with my neighbor. Sometimes they're inside of myself. But I know I can solve problems because mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow. And I am proud to be an artist. And you will be an artist today, you guys. Well, you are every day, but for sure today. Because we're going to draw landscapes. Landscapes. Ooh, so fun. I've got this down to kind of almost like a step-by-step drawing. So you're going to have 2 videos today. This one that I'm filming right now with you, and then the next one, which I will demonstrate and actually draw with you too today. Oh, I miss doing that. So anyway, let's talk about landscapes. Landscapes are simply a picture of the outdoors. That's how I define them. And they're made up of certain parts, almost like a recipe. Like if you're making something to eat and you follow the recipe and you always have these, 4 ingredients or 5 ingredients or whatever. It's the same kind of a thing with landscapes. So they always have sky, background, middle ground, and foreground, plus some other things. And you're like, I don't know what those things are yet. That's right, I'm supposed to teach you those, so hang in here with me. If you're looking at some of these works of art, these are pretty famous. I see a photograph. I see 3 paintings. I see some that look very real, some that don't look super real, but they do all have something in common. Is it the mountains? Is it the sky? Could be. Even more simple than that, they're all landscapes. So again, a picture of the land is all that it means when I say landscape. How do you make them? You can use pencil, paint, camera, crayons, cutouts, colored pencils, or anything else that makes a mark. Anything that you would make art with you can create and use to make a landscape. So I put this on here just so that you can see that the details are what really make landscapes interesting. So these are all basically desert scenes. There's 12 of them. They all have some commonalities. I see again the sky, the background, the middle ground, the foreground, which basically the components in there are the sky, but it's not always the same. I see a sun in some, I see the night sky in others. The colors change. The background, I can see mountains, but the mountain shapes have changed and the colors. In the middle ground, I see a lot of cactuses, I think it's cacti. And then the foreground, the stuff that's up close, sometimes there are rocks and sagebrush. Sometimes there's cactus. What is that? What is that creature right there? I don't know. Was it a snake coming up from behind there? I don't know. Anyway, you get to individualize the details of your drawing, but for today, when I'm teaching you in the second video, stick with me because we'll go again. It's kind of like learning to cook. I'll give you the ingredients in the recipe, and then once you've tried it, tasted it, then if you want to add more salt, sugar, pepper, whatever you want to add, you can. Not really, but you know what I mean. This is a pretty simple video. They describe landscapes a little bit differently than I do, which maybe is helpful. Maybe you're lost and you don't know what I'm talking about. So let's watch this.
Landscape. Landscape refers to a natural scene, such as a field with flowers and trees. In general, landscape artwork focuses on the natural environment and includes very few humans, animals, or man-made objects.
That's a different way of explaining it. Makes sense, though.
Landscape.
Oh no, we are not watching this again.
Landscape refers to a natural scene, such as a field.
It did that the last time I did this too. I'll be honest, you guys. I keep messing up this video. This is the third time I've recorded it. I'm going for it now. If I start saying weird things, you're just going to have to stick with me. All right, here we go. 4 parts of the landscape. So I've been talking about them, but let's see what they really look like in this painting. So way up at the top is the sky. Underneath the sky is something called a horizon line. And that is stretching all the way across there. And we've worked on this in second grade with the word horizontal when we're talking about lines, means side to side. Well, so does the horizon line. It moves across a landscape horizontally. So that might help you remember. And then the background. And the things in the background are going to look pretty small because they're far, far away. So the background usually has small things. The middle ground usually lands about in the middle of the paper, or at least in the middle between the horizon line and the bottom of the paper. Whatever's in the middle there, because your horizon line can come down up, it can go up or down depending on how much sky is in your picture. I'll show you more later. And then closest, which is where the girl is, she is hanging out in the foreground. That just means the closest. So you can see details of things in the foreground. They're oftentimes bigger than the things in the background. And if you don't believe me, this is kind of fun. Close one eye if you can. Take your thumb and your finger and put at the top of her head and maybe her feet. So look how big she is. Then go back and don't move your fingers, but move your hand and look. She's so much bigger, that house. If she got up and walked over there, she'd be like, I cannot get in the door because I'm so big. Is that true? No. As she walks back to the house or to the barn back there, she would look as if she's getting smaller if we stay where we are. She's not really getting smaller. Sorry, now I got a fly. See, I told you. I said I'm not stopping. There's a little fruit fly, bug flying around. Okay, anyway, she's going to look like she's getting smaller. And that's a trick called perspective. We'll get there. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. Okay, more about this horizon line because it's really important when you start to draw landscapes. So, quick video.
Horizon line. The horizon line determines the perspective from which you observe a work of art. The horizon line is set at the viewer's eye level. Objects above the horizon line will appear as if they are above the viewer. Objects set below the horizon line will appear as if they are beneath the viewer. Horizon line is also used in place of the term horizon, which is the point where the sky meets the land.
Now you can. Oh, what is with this video?
The horizon line determines.
Get out of here. There we go. You could see how it was moving up and down depending on how much sky was in the picture. So, what is this slide? I don't know. Is this where I'm going to teach you to draw? Nope. Okay. Background. Again, I've already told you this. Just checking in those of you who go, what is she talking about? Or maybe you were spaced out. Maybe your brother was poking you. So the background is the far, far away of a landscape. The middle ground is the middle. And then the foreground is the closest. So it just moves its way right down the paper. The top, sky, horizon line, background are going to be the small things that don't have a lot of details. Middle ground, you'll see a little bit more detail, plus the objects are bigger. And then by the time they get to the foreground, you should be able to see the details of things. This is cool too, and we're going to learn how to do that, how to make something look like it's actually going further away. It's pretty simple. All right, I know I'm killing this right now. You're like, enough with the 4 parts. Can you find them? So can you remember what they are, first of all? Okay, easiest one, sky. Next, can you see the background? The middle ground? The foreground? And are you noticing the changes in the detail? So the foreground, definitely the boat and the biggest palm trees. You can see so many details. You can see that they have individual leaves on each palm tree. You can see the texture of the bark. By the time you get back to these palm trees, your brain tells you, oh, I know those are palm trees. They have textured bark and they're multiple palms. But you can't see those because they're in the middle ground. Or way back here, those are in the background and they are almost blurry because they're so far away and so small. Now, this is a tricky picture. This one doesn't really have the horizon line because the way the bay is kind of arced or curved. The horizon line truly is behind these trees. We really can't see it in this picture. It'd be right about there, and it would just go doo, 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 doo. But we can't see it because the trees are blocking it. It's still important, though. Here's another visual example of looking at something and noticing that it's going further and further away because of the size. So here, these 2 trees, pretty small. They look so tiny, and then as they're getting bigger, they're also getting closer. The reverse on this one, because now it's in the center, but the things are still getting smaller and looking like they're getting further away. Simple tricks. I'm telling you, this is truly, landscapes are almost like cooking, like the recipes. Wait, drats, this is a really good visual, but it sure does look blurry. Okay, background, we know it. Way back here, there's that horizon line, which has something on it called a vanishing point. We didn't talk about that yet, but we will draw it. I'm going to get you guys drawing something that looks like this, whether it ends up being a road or a river, something that looks like it's disappearing, vanishing, which is why they use that word. There's our middle ground, and again, there's our foreground. Always at the bottom, always closest. Okay, one last video from Goodbye Art Academy, and then I'm going to pause because you're going to have to go grab your paper and your pencil, and then we'll come back and I'll start to draw with you.
One-point perspective. One-point perspective is a drawing technique in which all lines converge at a single vanishing point. The converging lines create the illusion of distance and depth in two-dimensional art. An example of one-point perspective is a head-on view of railroad tracks in which the rails converge at a single point on the horizon line.
Ooh, we're going to make one.
One-point
Oh,
perspective.
every time.
One-point perspective is a drawing.
Man, maybe they think I didn't say it clearly and then we need to show it again twice. I don't know. That happened to all 3 times, didn't it? Okay, you're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil. If you have an eraser, that would be great. If you are a perfectionist and you know that if you wanted to draw your horizon line, you want it perfectly straight, find yourself a straight edge, whether that's a ruler or just a book or something that you can draw and make a straight line. Okay, so pencil, piece of paper, eraser, and then depending on how much of a perfectionist you are. I'm going to stop this video and then we're going to come back with a second one and I'm going to show you what to do, everybody. This is fun stuff. Love drawing landscape.